Hi, this is AubreyS from Brownsville Games, and I've decided to come back from a brief hiatus of recording games to at least share an opinion that's been on my mind for the past few days. If you were not paying attention to Nintendo's announcement, they decided to come out because it's the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers for Nintendo, and they decided to come out with a series of so-called brand new releases. And honestly, I'm a little upset because, number one, I love Nintendo. All right, I've grown up with it since the 90s, basically. And as much as I enjoy Nintendo, they have always done things to make me scratch my head. And when I say scratch my head, I'm talking about scratch my head out of frustration. The first thing that I want to mention is that I always give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt when it comes to trying to push out as much of their great content as possible when it comes to buying their products, right? Like, I remember growing up when I was about probably 10 years old, 11 years old, or 9, like between the ages of 9 to 11, I wanted the Nintendo 64 badly. And I remember when they were releasing the 64, it was very difficult to buy, right? I'm from Brooklyn, right? I would go to the Toys R Us on 34th Street in Manhattan to try to get a Nintendo 64, and it would be impossible to get. I remember the same thing with the Game Boy Advance, the same thing with the GameCube, the same thing with, the Wii. And, when it got to the Switch, right, we're talking about now 2017. I'm thinking by now a company like Nintendo that has survived pretty much in a industry that is dominated by Sony and Microsoft. Like when you think about the game players of consoles, that's pretty much it, right? We talked about many opportunities for companies to have fun at some point. At least I've talked about it with my friends. If I haven't recorded it here, I feel like I should record more of my thoughts. But I know that I've had conversations about how Nintendo has survived the test of time when other companies have tried and failed, i.e. Sega. But it's 2017 and you come out with this amazing thing called the Switch, and you still have issues in terms of making Switches. To me, that's just so stupid. How in the year 2020, yes, granted, we're going through that particular pandemic that I can't mention, but how in the hell are you now in a position where it's 2020 and y'all cannot push systems out fast enough? Yeah, it's hard to get a system, period, but okay, pre-COVID, it was still, oops, I shouldn't have said that, but whatever, editing. But pre that period, there wasn't much of a change in that scenario. People still had issues trying to cop a Switch, and then the Switch Lite came out, so people, so-called options were there, but really not really. For instance, the Switch Lite itself is a perfect example of why Nintendo gets on my nerves, because Nintendo came out with the Switch Lite where you can't detach the fucking controllers. It's truly a portable, right? Where, the regular Switch is just a convertible type device, right? You can take it on the go, you can dock it in your house, right? There's a kickstand so you can play it on all those features are non-existent in the Switch Lite, which to me is great. So you got this overly large DS, okay. Fuck creating a newer version of the Switch where it's lighter, it has a longer battery life, you can connect your fucking Bluetooth without buying a device. So if you use a Bluetooth headset, you can finally connect it to the device. There's bigger storage capacity because to only sell a Switch at 32 gigabytes in the year, even in the year fucking 2017, I find that ridiculous. But to not create a refresh model of the Switch where you can actually have higher disk capacity locally on your device is fucking absurd. And then there's a scarce number of these little motherfuckers. Meanwhile, you get new games that are coming out that are fantastic. Like Animal Crossing. Fantastic. I don't even play that shit, but I just watch gameplay and it looks so much fun. But the thing that frustrates me now, and I'm setting all of this context, this background to get to the whole fucking point of this rant, is that I've watched the video of Nintendo. This was a 30-minute video of Nintendo talking about, because of the 35th anniversary, here are all the new things that are coming out. Cool. I remember sitting with my, really good friend, great friend / roommate, and we're talking while watching it. Now, he is a gamer through and through. He played on a few of the games, and quite frankly, when watching the video, was like, all right, Nintendo came out with some new shit to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. All I need to see is some sort of like refresh of Sunshine, and that would be fine. I'm like, okay, that's a fair expectation, but maybe I'm going to set an unfair expectation. And my unfair expectation is, I want a new fucking game. Right? Like, y'all made arguably the best Super Mario ever, and that was Odyssey. And I loved that game. I still play it to this day for fun. For fun. Like, I still go out of my way to play it for fun. And I'm thinking to myself, great. What will be an awesome way to celebrate Super Mario's 35th anniversary? A new fucking game. What did Nintendo do? They came out with basically hacks, mods, to games that already exist. For example, Super Mario, whatever the fuck it is, that 35th Super Mario Brothers game where basically you're playing Super Mario, but it's like a Royale. So it's all about being the last one to survive, going through all of these worlds where each player can manipulate how the other players go through the particular stage. Okay, I guess that's fine if I was a Fortnite crackhead that just wants excitement. I mean, honestly, if you want to be a Fall Guys, make a Fall Guys, right? Make Mario Party more Far Guys. Sorry, my tongue is getting all twisted. Make the damn Super Mario game and make it a true Fall Guys type of Royale game if you're really trying to go at that angle. I implore all of you to watch the Nintendo 30-minute video and watch that particular segment, because you will understand why I'm a tad bit frustrated about this particular model of the game. But people are going to gravitate to it. I might just gravitate to it just for the funsies, like it's going to be on Switch Online, so fuck it, I'll play it a little. But the point is, that ain't new, okay? It ain't new. Then they came out with this fucking Mario Kart game where you have these robotic cars similar to the carts in the game, and they have cameras attached to it. So you are able to create your own map literally in your house. And the cameras on top of the cars, they serve like an AR purpose, right? Like the game is basically an AR version of Mario Kart. So if you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, imagine playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but there's a way where you can create your own track and you can drive literally in that track, especially if that track is your house, right? So you get these little paper, cardboard type sections where the cars have to drive through those particular sections to complete a lap and all. Like, okay, first when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. if I had more space in my apartment. Like, I live in a fucking, really small ass apartment. So I cannot envision me ever setting up a game like this in my home. Like, it's never going to happen. And also, it's not a new fucking game. This is something that's based off of a pre-existing game that I already have. Again, Mario can be a lot better in a world where a new game exists. But we don't see any of that. We don't hear any of that so far in this goddamn release. So now I'm getting a little irritated. Then I see this Super Mario 64 popping up, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what in the fuck is going on here? Like, now I'm seeing Super Mario 64. So now Mario is accessible across many catalogs of games now on the Switch, right? If you play Switch Online, you should be able to play, from Super Mario Brothers before it was Super Mario Brothers 1, right? The original one during the times of Donkey Kong. You can play that all the way up to Super Mario World on Switch Online. Now, Nintendo decides we're going to put out Super Mario 3D World, which is pretty much the Super Mario All-Stars of all of the games that came out from the 64 all the way up to the Wii. So we're talking about Super Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, like those games. Now, honestly, when I saw that, I really got irritated at this point, because I honestly feel like, okay, these are awesome games. Like, right now, I'm trying to play through all the Mario games that are out. And quite frankly, it's not that hard to do in terms of getting access to these games because, thanks to the internet, we have these things called emulators and ROMs. So finding these ROMs aren't that tough of a challenge these days, and I still have access to like other things around me that I can just play all these other versions. Like, it's not impossible to play any of these games that Nintendo released as a package, and then that's it, they just sell it to you. Again, this is not a new fucking game. This is not new. None of the products that Nintendo introduced were new at all. And you know what? By that point of the fucking release video, I was a little irritated, but I said, you know what? Okay, there's some, so-called new things I can now test out and play. But what topped it all, what got me to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I am so fucking angry. I'm going to actually record this and post this on the YouTube channel, even if this is not, even if you can't even see my fucking face. I don't care. I have to say this. What the fuck? Why in the hell are you making all of these goddamn games limited release where they're all digital? This doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would you artificially create scarcity on your IP? Why? Why would you decide to make your games a limited availability on a digital platform? You're not printing anything. There are no fucking physical resources needed to dispense the fucking product to the public. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Other than this, y'all are trying to stay relevant by creating scarcity, so that way when you put out a small set number of products, people are going to flock to it and go out and buy it. And you know what? I fucking hate this. I've noticed that. I noticed that people are gravitating to these games now where, like Fall Guys. Fall Guys on the PlayStation 4 is a fun game. Is it worth $20? Probably not. But guess what? If you didn't download the game these past couple of months when it was free, now you're going to have to pay for it. Now, the difference here is that, one, I haven't seen a Wipeout Battle Royale type of game like this in a long time. So, yeah, I'm going to download it. And I've played it, and it's frustratingly great. But you see, this is different with Nintendo. Because with Nintendo, we're talking about IP that has been around, like they've said, for 35 fucking years. So for y'all to now create these new iterations of things we already have and make it a limited availability, right? Like you're going to release the game in September and then after fucking February, it no longer exists. Let me tell you something. I used to deal with this bullshit with Disney. Disney back in the day would come out with their stupid fucking videos and they would say, oh, if you don't buy it by next year, it goes back into the vault. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, so you guys can like then put it out 10 years later and be like, this is new? Jesus Christ. Like, what's wrong with you people? Make new fucking games. That's all. Make them. Even if they suck, make them. I would rather play a brand new shitty game than a, over fucking priced, glittery piece of shit I've already played already. Like, come on, man. Like, now you're playing with people's emotions. I used to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt when they had issues trying to fucking get their console in order in terms of pushing as many of them out. I gave them a pass. I even gave them a pass that they didn't even come out with a new fucking Switch by now that would at least have more storage, a longer battery life, and at least the ability to connect Bluetooth headphones because, we live in the fucking year 2020, right? Like, I just, honestly, Nintendo, you're making this very hard for me to like you, and that's hard to do because I've always supported you. Back in the 90s when I was the only fucking, aside from like other members of my family, but in terms of like my cousins and me, I was the only person rocking a fucking Nintendo, like for realsies. From the NES to the Super NES to the N64. Yeah, I got a PlayStation eventually like every other human being, but the point is I was riding for Nintendo through and through. And now you're pissing me off because you make good things and then you make it so impossible for us to really enjoy them because of things like this, right? So Nintendo, I only have one thing to say. Just make new fucking things. Like, if there's one thing I give much love to Nintendo for, is innovation. They have always been the type to push the envelope to create things that are very innovative. I would rather wait a decade or God knows how long for you guys to come up with the next innovative thing than the reiteration of the same shit that I've already have. Like, I see this all the time in technology, period. From the Apple iPhones to the bullshit Maddens of EA and the 2Ks with the same reiterated shit, but then you make people spend $70, $80, maybe even $100 plus on DLC shit. God damn it, guys. You can do a lot fucking better.